In this lesson we're going to look at factorising the harder trinomials, but this time where there's negative values involved. Okay, so let's look at this first one, 2x squared take away 5x plus 3. So you can see there's a takeaway here, we have to factor that in when we're thinking about how to solve this. As before, you can spot the 2x squared at the start, so just put your 2x and your x in. That's the only way to make a 2x squared. I'm aware that there's only one way to make a 3, but we don't know if it's a plus or a minus 3, so we'll just leave that at the moment. So put your 2x in and your x to start. Right, let's look at factors of 3. So factors of 3 are just 1 and 3. Now I always leave the signs to the very end. I think that's the easiest way to deal with it. So you've got a 50-50 chance here of putting the 3 in and the 1 and the 1 and the 3 in the correct place. I'm going to look at the 1 and the 3 this way round first. So I'm trying to generate a negative 5, or just a 5 essentially. So if I've got a 1x and a 6x here, I can create a 5 there. Okay, but the thing is, the signs at the end, it needs to be a plus 3 I generate with this. So to generate a plus 3, I either need a plus 3 and a plus 1, or a minus 1 and a minus 3. Now if it's a minus 1 and a minus 3, that's going to give me a minus 6x and a minus 1x, and that's not going to generate the negative 5. So I need to try it the other way around. Okay, so what we have here is the insides give me 3x and the outsides give me 2x, which can make the 5. Let's just check the signs. So if they're both pluses, that wouldn't work because you get a takeaway here. So I'll have to go for both negatives to generate that plus 3 at the end. And that's important there. So let's see if both negatives will work. So if I have a negative here and a negative here, I'm going to change a negative 3x and a negative 2x. That creates a negative 5, so that's my answer. So it's always good to remember if there's a plus at the end, the signs need to both be the same in the brackets. Right, let's look at another example here. So 2x squared take away 9x plus 7. Same idea, plus at the end. So we should be thinking, right, the signs in the brackets need to be the same. And they're obviously going to be takeaways because it needs to generate a takeaway here. If you had two pluses in the brackets, you'd never get a negative 9x. Right, so factors of 7. Quite easy factors in this one. Factors of 7 are only 1 and 7. There's only one way to create a 7, and that is doing that. So it depends which way round you put it. Now let's look at the 1 and the 7 that way round. So this is going to create a 1x, and that's going to create a 14x. There's no way of making a 9 with that, so that's just out. We're going to swap it round. So I've got a 7x and a 2x. You can generate a 9 with a 7 and a 2, and we're trying to make a negative 9, so a negative 7x and a negative 2x will do that. Again, signs the same to create this plus 7 at the end. Okay, I'm going to look at two more examples in this exercise or this lesson. Exactly the same idea, the pluses at the end. So again, because a plus 1 at the end, we know the signs are going to have to be the same. The other thing to look out for in these examples is the starting value, the 4x squared, can either be two things. It can be a 2x and a 2x, or a 4x and a 1x. So because of that, you look to the end number and you think, okay, there's only one way to make a 1, and that's 1 times 1, so put them in first. And really what we're doing is we're looking about the 4. We're going to think of factors of 4 this time. So if you think of factors of 4 for the x squareds, 4 can be split up into 1 and 4, or 2 and 2. So I'm going to go for 4 and 1 to start, just to show you what happens when you put that in. So that's going to create a 1x, that's going to create a 4x, which will never create a negative 4x there, so that's going to generate 5 or 3. And the thing is, we know the signs have to be both negatives here to create that plus, so that would create a negative 1x and that would create a negative 4x. So that's not going to work. So we're going to have to go for the 2 and the 2. Now 2x, the insides are going to give you a 2x, the outside is going to give you a 2x, which generates the 4. Now to get the negative 4, the signs are both negative. But we should know that because you've got a plus 1 at the end, the signs need to be the same. Again, if in any doubt, multiply it out, check it. Generally people are better at multiplying out than factorising. Okay, last example here. Again, the starting number has a few combinations of factors, so we'll jump to the 3 and think, well, there's only one way to make a 3, and put the 3 and the 1 in first. Then think about your 6. So we think factors of 6. You can have 1 and 6, or you can have 2 and 3. Now, as in the last lessons, I'm going to pick the factors that are closer together, so 3x and 2x this way round, and then I'm going to look to try and create the 11. Again, because of the plus 3 at the end, we know the signs need to be the same, and in this case negative, to get that negative here. So that generates a 6 here, 2 times 3, that generates a 3, so that makes 9 if you add them together. That's not going to make the 11. So switch the 2x and the 3x about. Okay, so the middle ones will make 9x and the outside ones will make 2. That can make an 11. So then put your signs in and just double check it. This will create a negative 9x, this will create a negative 2x, which makes your negative 11. And if this didn't work out, then you would try the 1 and the 6 and swap that around. And eventually you get the right answer if you did it correctly.